Welcome back to another episode of Fettcraft Season 2. This is Bobo here, and I'm just solo right now. I made some progress. The big progress I made was getting a big foam finger on my head. Yeah, what up? Ooh. No, not really. I just wanted to record some of the progress I've made with the ME system. I actually got the ME system up and working. Oh, look, potatoes. There's potatoes over there. I'll put the finger on the potatoes. Ooh, see potatoes right there. Yeah, potatoes. We can get rid of that. I got a functional ME system going not too long ago. I should have probably been recording the process of getting all the parts together, but I'm going to show that to you here shortly. And I wanted to record it so Jen and Julie could see the setup, what's going on. I also just did this just a few minutes ago. I expanded this lake out. This lake happens to be right over the area where I got the mob spawner downstairs. And so you see 1, 2 fish traps installed. They're not at peak efficiency, as there's only 2 water blocks above them, and they could have 3, but there's 3 on either side of them, so they should be pretty good. We'll give it some time to see. They take some time regardless. I'll show off. I don't think we've really looked. I guess we have seen the smeltery. This is pretty cool. This is going to be like we're going to do potions and stuff up there. Jen and Julie want to make that room up there like a potions area and things like that. The house itself is going to be expanded out. It's going to go up, and the shape may change, and the style of the wood may change. This was just a temporary situation, and Julie did a great job putting this together very quickly. She did it in really about an episode and a half, and it's been really useful. But we wanna make it a little bigger, make it look a little more like a house instead of just an area where we exist. As we saw earlier, we have a quarry going here, which it doesn't give a percentage anymore, I guess because they figured they weren't doing that math correctly. But I always try and escape out of that like it's a screen. I don't know why I do that. It's full. And if this sucker keeps filling up, I'm going to deal with that in a little bit, because now, yes, I know this does not look pretty. This is not how this is going to stay. We'll get some good video of what this looks like now. This, especially this work area. This over here, this is going to be, I think Julie, I like the couch, and Julie's doing good. We're going to move the beds up to a loft area, and then we'll have maybe some kind of library or something up there too. And this area's, I envision it being open and having like a bedroom area and some railing, and study area up there and some railing. I thought we had installed Bibliocraft so we could put cool bookshelves and desks and stuff, and it's not, but I might install it. We have Mr. Crayfish. Hey, look, I'm sitting at the table. Look at me sitting at the table with my foam finger through the roof. Okay, so this is a skystone chest, which is found, as you saw in our previous episodes, found in the middle of these skystone structures, which are supposed to be, I guess, meteorites that have fallen from the sky. And in some cases, Jen saw in our single player world that the meteorite was just kind of sitting on the top of the ground like you would think a meteorite would be. But all the 3 that we found tonight, or in earlier episodes, were underground, and we had to look for them. And in the middle of each one of these, there's just chunks and chunks of skystone, and in the middle you find the skystone chest, which has these things in it, these inscriber things, which I'm going to show you kind of how those work in a little bit. I'll show you the inscriber over here in a minute, and all of the new Applied Energistics stuff. This setup you're about to see back here is not pretty. So no criticism. This is all going to change. I was just putting stuff in the cheapest places possible, so to speak. This is here before. This is the pulverizer, redstone furnace, magma crucible, and a fluid transposer. Here's an energetic infuser for charging of the backpacks, the jet packs, and an energy cell. Now here it is. The ME system. Not pretty at all. Here's that inscriber I was talking about. And you take those plates. I should have got someone, brought them over and made a silicone something or other. But you take the plate and you put the plate up here. And you put either a diamond or gold or Certus quartz with the plate. And they make this rough kind of circuit thing. And then you take that rough circuit and you put it in with a silicon circuit with redstone, and they combine to make the final circuit. And maybe I'll show you that process here in a little bit, but this is how you make all of the circuitry for the ME system stuff. This here is an energy acceptor. It has no interface. Let me bring up the Applied Energistics in NEI, Apple Energistics. Alright, so this thing is the energy acceptor. And it's the Fluix crystal, pure or regular, quartz glass, and an iron ingot. And the quartz glass is made with the dust of either nether quartz or Certus quartz, and you can combine them in any way. You can have all of one or one of another two. It doesn't matter what the combination here is, as long as there's 5 dusts of either nether or Certus quartz or a combination of both, and then glass and in the plus symbol, and you get 4 quartz glass out of that. All right, and quartz glass is used in a lot of the ME stuff. So as you see, it's used here for this energy acceptor, which we have right here. And what the energy acceptor does, don't look in that hole yet. What the energy acceptor does is connect to energy systems that are not ME energy. And in this case, I believe that the RedNet could connect directly to most of these machines, but it did not. It seemed to have a problem with the crystal growth accelerator. I didn't. When I put it on top of a cable outside, it didn't activate, and it's activated now. And the crystal growth accelerator is made like so. It's iron ingots. We saw the quartz glass already. The flux box. For some reason, these two recipes give you the same thing. This one obviously costs more. This costs double, and you would think it would turn out 2 of these, but you can. And these are the pure, and you don't get like a pure. Maybe it's because you can make these and you can't make these, or you could take these and double them. I'll show you that later. Maybe it has something to do that. But the double of these to make one versus just 4 of these to make one, I went with that. I guess it ends up being the same price because of this doubling I'm about to show you. And what that does, this is a complicated thing that we're about to get to. But if you want to make flux crystals at all, you need to take a charged Certus quartz, which is different than the previous version of Applied Energistics, where we just had Certus quartz, and you combine Certus quartz with nether quartz and a redstone, and you got a flux crystal, or maybe 2, something like that. You just put them in a workbench and you got them out. Now what you have to do is there's a new Certus quartz variety, and it's called charged Certus quartz, which you can find in the world. It seems to be a bit more rare than regular Certus quartz, but it does exist in the world. And you dig it up just like Certus quartz. It's a block that you dig up, and you can also make these. You can take a regular Certus quartz. Let's go get some of those. Let's put these diamonds away. Boop. Oh, we're over a stack of diamonds. You can take here's some pure Certus crystal and some pure flux crystal. Let's take some Certus quartz. Put down here. And you have this thing called a charger. Okay, right here. Let's see what it takes to make a charger. Well, you need either flux crystal or pure flux crystal to make a charger. So you need to get that in some way before you can make this charger to charge up charged Certus quartz. And I'm getting to that. You need charged Certus quartz, nether quartz, and redstone still to make flux crystal. But you can't do it in a crafting table. You do it in a pool of water like this. A water source block. You take that charged Certus quartz, regular nether quartz, and 1 redstone dust, and you just throw them in that block of water. And after just a few seconds, you don't need this thing or anything. It could be any single block of water in the world. After a few seconds, it pops out 2 flux crystals. And then you can use them in crafting, the things that you need to craft in ME. But if you're running low on the charged Certus quartz, but you have plenty of regular Certus quartz, you could take a regular Certus quartz crystal and put it in this charger and give it a few seconds and see, bam, bam, and you get a charged Certus quartz crystal. See? Charged. So then you use that. Let's see, it's nighttime. Let's sleep. And I'll show you real quickly how the original flux crystal is made. And I'm running out of nether quartz. I'm gonna have to go to the nether and get some more shortly. But for now, I'm gonna show you how you make your flux crystal. Flux. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, and I actually don't give a crap. Let's just do it here. I was doing it. Really? That's too high. There we go. Alright, so what you do is you have charged Certus quartz. But it has to be charged for this to work. A regular Certus quartz won't do this process. And a regular nether quartz and a regular redstone. And you toss in the charged, you toss in the nether, and you toss in the redstone. But you miss with the... Oh, it got in there. It was on the edge, but it got in there, I think. Yeah, it did. And you saw the little lightning effect, and you got, just in a few seconds, you get the flux crystal. Alright, and then the flux crystal, like I said before, you can use in crafting recipes. But you can also take the flux crystal and put it in a pulverizer. And if you do that, you will get flux dust. Oh no! Okay, we get the flux dust. And then, if you combine that with sand, which I don't have right now. So there's 2 flux dust that we got from the 2 flux crystals, and we put in the sand, and we get 4 of these flux seeds. Alright, what do you do with those, you say? Well, here's where this thing comes in. I had made a whole bunch of Certus quartz seeds, and in here should be now pure. I made 32, I think. So there should be a stack of pure Certus quartz crystals. Let's see. Yep, a stack of pure Certus quartz crystal. Now, here's where this thing comes in. If I did this process you're about to see in just a regular 1x1 block of water, where you take these seeds and you throw them in, throw them all in. When I tried to do it earlier today in just a regular block of water out there by that lake that we were just in, It took almost all the day, and I left the game on almost all day. I'm going to actually go in and grab them right now. They haven't been in there long enough to do anything. And you see there's 2%, 2%, okay? So let's put those back in and let those do their thing for a while. This thing speeds up the process by which these things become pure crystals. Now, you saw it was only at 2%, and they had been in there for a little bit. This is going to take, 10, 15, 20 minutes maybe. When I come back, though, we'll have pure flux crystals, and we'll have doubled the amount, basically, from the 2 that we had, and we should have 4. Okay, so that's how you get regular flux crystals with that process I showed you out there, and this is how you get the pure flux crystals. Now, what do you need the pure ones for? There may be a recipe or two, but I really don't know yet exactly if there's any one that requires that you have the pure variety. Almost all of the recipes allow you to use either regular flux crystal or the pure one. But there is one recipe that requires you have pure Certus quartz crystal. Like, once again, with the flux crystals, pretty much any recipe that calls for Certus quartz will also accept charged Certus quartz or pure Certus quartz. So any of the 3 varieties. And you can basically take your Certus quartz and double it with sand into pure Certus quartz. So the reason why you would get pure is to double it, except for if you want to make one of these printed calculation circuits, which are required in a few recipes. It only takes pure Certus quartz. So you need to put a pure in there to get this printed calculation circuit out. So, about these circuits. Let's make some basic ones here. All the stuff's over here. So, you need this printed silicon, which I'm not going to show you how to make, but I'll describe it to you in a minute. And you need the press for the circuit that you want to make. So instead of basic gold circuits and advanced diamond circuits, we now have logic processor, calculation processor, and engineering processor. So if you want to make a gold circuit for something that requires a gold circuit, you need a piece of gold and the logic press. If you want to make a mid-level Certus circuit, which is called a calculation processor, you need a pure Certus quartz and the calculation press. All right. And if you want to make an engineering processor, which was the advanced circuit before, you need the engineering press. Where do you get these presses? Well, this little box here is a skystone chest. And like I said before, it was found in the middle of the large meteorite that we dug up. And in the middle of each one of those is a skybox that looks just like this. And it's surrounded by the sky stone. So it was, put that actually in your hotbar if you want to use it. It was, found in, there was a lot more than this, but all around it were these things, and in the middle of a big chunk of these things in the ground was this thing. And you can see from the earlier video, if you missed it, just go back and watch the previous video or the video before it. Has us searching for these things using this compass. Boop. And this points to the first one we found, which is over in that direction. And the compass is made with a charged Certus quartz crystal, and it has to be charged, and then irons in the plus shape. And you get a meteor compass which will point you to the closest one. I had to fly around to find and move to other areas to get it to point to a different one than just that one there, so I could find all of these different patterns. These are not craftable. They do not, there's no crafting recipe for it. If I click on them, it just shows you how to duplicate one, but it doesn't, I can't click and have it tell me how to craft it. So you have to find them in the world. And where you find them is in these chests around the large clumps of this sky stone, which is supposed to be a meteor, I guess, that fell from the sky. The point being, you have to take this compass and go out and find those things, dig them up, find the rough center. This box is usually roughly in the center, and it's hard to see because it looks just like the stone as you saw a second ago. But you'll find it. We found 3 in an episode, 20, 30 minutes or so. The first 2 only had the silicone press, the calculation press, and the engineering press. And the logic press is the one I really need, because that's the one that makes these gold suckers, and they're used more than just about anything. And as it turns out, you need all 4 of them. But I'm gonna grab just the calculation press and make just one of these, just to show you how it works. I got the silicone sucker, and yeah, I know my inventory is a messio. Just dealio with it-o. Let's see how these guys are doing. You see, they're bigger. They're not little tiny guys. They're tiny, but they're not the little round just nothings. They're getting bigger. And we'll check those in a minute. We're getting to the sucker. Just wait. So what you do is you right-click on this inscriber, right? And to make this printed silicon one, I didn't need both of these, but that's fine. There was, of the 4 you saw, there was the calculation, engineering, logic, and there's the silicon press. To make the silicon, you put a piece of silicon with the inscriber silicon press in there, and you get the printed silicon out. And silicon is made with either Certus quartz dust or nether quartz dust in any kind of furnace, any kind of smelting situation. So I just put this in the redstone furnace, and I got out a bunch of silicon, and then I put the silicon press, which is kind of like this one, but it says inscriber silicon press and not inscriber calculation press, with a piece of silicon, and you get out the printed silicon, this thing, which is used to make all the rest of the other 4 things. Okay, and I'll show you that in a second. So this process that I'm going to do for the calculation guy, this guy, is the same for these others, except it just uses different materials. This one uses gold, and this one uses a diamond. The one that we're about to do just uses pure Certus quartz. So the only difference between these 3 is the material that gets put right here, and the inscriber press. You need to use the right press for the right circuit that you want, right processor you want. In this case, we're going to do the calculation. Just put one of those up there, and it doesn't use it up. It's like just it's a blank pattern that you use over and over and over again. So you put that up there, and you put a pure Certus crystal in here, and you see it goes right away as long as it's connected to power, and it gives you a printed calculation circuit. All right. I don't know why I have 2 buckets. Well, I was filling up the water in the other place. Now, you can keep making these. I could keep putting these in here. And here's the real bummer about this interface. I can't take this stack. Like, if I wanted to make 63 of these things that I just made, I can't take this and drop it in there. If I left-click or right-click or any kind of click, it only puts 1 in at a time. And that's true for all 3 of these windows. So this is kind of a babysit process. Fortunately, you don't have to make these processors that often. It's a little bit too often for my liking that I have to babysit it the way that I do, and I wish they had done that differently, and maybe they'll change that in later updates. Here's hoping. But yeah, you have to manually put in each one at a time. Now you can shift click. If you shift click, it'll shift click 1 into the spot That won't work for the next process. It'll only work for this process because it knows to go in here. This next thing we're going to do is turn this printed calculation circuit into an actual calculation circuit. And so if you were doing this with the gold one or the diamond one, it's the exact same process. You take the printed, and in the case of the logic circuit, I would have had the inscriber logic board up here and put a piece of gold in here instead of the Certus quartz, the pure Certus quartz, and then it would have given me one of these things, the printed logic circuit. And in the case of the printed engineering circuit, I would have put the engineering press up here and put put a diamond in here, and I would have got the printed engineering circuit out. Okay, so that's the only difference between these three, is what material you use in here, and that you're using the right press for the right thing. I know it sounds complicated, but once you do it a couple times, it's like, oh, that's easier than I thought it was. When I first saw how many changes there were in Applied Energistics, I kind of blew my mind a little bit. But once I got the hang of some things, it ends up not being that bad. So don't let it get to you. Just dive in there, roll up your sleeves, and do it, and you go, oh, it's not that bad. Hopefully. So I'm going to stop talking and show you how to do this. The printed silicon is used in all three of these. So that's why I made a bunch of them. I'll probably end up making a bunch more of them. And like I said, that process is the same as the process you just saw here, where you take the silicon press and you put a piece of silicon, and it gives you one of these things. So shut up, Bob. Let's just do it. You put the printed circuit, whether it's a calculation circuit, logic circuit, or engineering circuit, up here. I'm going to left click just to show you that it only does one at a time. Here's a left click, and there's one in there. It didn't put the whole stack in. So that's something to be wary of, to recognize. You're not doing something wrong when a stack doesn't go in there, just one at a time. I know they said that a bunch of times, but that kind of threw me for a loop, and it's something I really feel like they should change. And the only other thing you have to do here, and this is the same for all of them, I'm left clicking again and just going to put one piece in there. You put redstone, and then this goes. We'll actually let you see the little animation. Punk, and there's made a circuit. And so now I have a calculation processor. And that's the inscriber in a very, very large, over-explained nutshell. But I want people to get that process and how that works. I showed you the charger for charging your Certus quartz into charged Certus quartz. I showed you this interface, which is the energy acceptor, which allows you to feed energy to all the rest of your ME system. And these flux cables are the standard cables from before. They have a slightly different recipe. That's not how you get to NEI. You can make all these different colored cables if you want, to have different networks and they don't interfere with each other. I only ever have one network, so I don't worry about it. I just make the basic ME glass flux cable, which calls for those famous flux crystals, pure or otherwise. You see how it's changing there. Regular old glass and a quartz fiber, which is 3 quartz glass gives you 4 of these, which is not too bad. And then you see you use one of those quartz fibers, 6 pieces of glass, 2 flux crystals, only get you 2 of the flux cables. So you want to organize your network in a sound way. Now, I probably could have put this on top, or I could have done a lot of things differently here. I understand. I'm going to change all of this, so I don't care at all. This whole room is going to be completely changed. I just wanted to get this thing up and running. So what do we got here? Now, what you may not have noticed is not here is an ME controller. There's no ME controller. And as it stands on Applied Energistics 4, 2, thermal expansion 4 and Applied Energistics 2. Applied Energistics 2 does not need the controller unless you have you need to connect more than 8 things that are doing logic. And what does that mean? Like, this thing, the inscriber, is just pulling power. It's not doing any kind of logic. And this thing is just an energy acceptor. It's not doing any logic. And this thing, the crystal growth accelerator, isn't doing any logic processes. In other words, it's not pushing data. These cables do data and power. These flux cables, the ME cables, they do data and power. If the thing they're connected to, and in this case there's no cable, it's just pulling the power directly, and in this case there's the cable is in there, and this thing is just pulling power. This thing only pulls power, this thing only pulls power, this thing only pulls power. So these are not data connections. They're not taking up what's called a channel. You're only allowed 8 channels without 8 data channels without a ME processor. This drive, the ME drive, each one of these does not count as a process, okay? They do not take up a channel. Just the drive itself takes up one channel. It's using one channel, and then this thing, the ME crafting terminal, I made a crafting terminal because I figure why not have the crafting in there too, and it only costs a little bit more to make this. This also does data, so we have 2 data devices on this network, and for the foreseeable future, I don't see adding a tremendous amount of more data. There may be another drive added, but that's going to be a little bit down the road, and there may be 1 or 2 other things, but I can't see right now going up to 8 data things that need to send data over the network. In other words, 8 data channels, 8 devices that use a data channel. And when I do it'll be at the point where making the ME controller won't be a problem at all. And I'll show you how that's done when I get to that. But for now, I really want to show Jen and Julie and anybody else is watching that, hey, look, we have an ME system. And unlike the old one, it's just a little panel that sits right on one of the tubes there. Okay, it's not a full block like it was in the old one. And so here's the moment of truth. We're going to right click on it. But bam! And I haven't put anything in there yet. I wanted to record a video and actually show you me filling this up, but that English wasn't correct. So we're going to put our first bit of junkola into the ME network, and I'm just going to put generic stuff in there now, like dirt. There's dirt in our ME system now, and look, there's more dirt. I'm going to put get rid of the rest of this crap, and you can see if you're not familiar with the ME system, it does basically infinite stacks. This is 160, and it's all in one stack, so you don't have to worry about it filling up stacks. It does take up one of the 63 types, so each one of these drives can do 63 types, and once I get to more than 63 times 2 types as it is, I need to add another drive, and I'll fill up the types before I'll fill up this 4K drive. Eventually I'll have 64K drives and a bunch of 64K drives in here, and they'll just handle pretty much just about everything, especially if I fill all these up. But for now, what I want to do is start taking stuff out of those chests and start taking stuff out of the out of the sucker out here, the quarry thing. I'm having problems with words right now, and start to clear some space out here. But the first thing I gotta do is just dump a bunch of this crap off, and I really don't care that this doesn't all go in here. I just want to get rid of it as much as I can so I can be a little more efficient in dumping stuff off here. Let's go out here first. Here's the quarry. We've talked about that a couple times today and what it's doing and how it works. I'm going to start grabbing the ores, and the ores will be the first thing to go in there. I guess it doesn't really matter what I grab as long as we get it out and put it in the ME. But I want the ores to start to fill it up first before anything else. So so we'll have a better idea of the number of types and everything. Well, those guys look like they're done, actually. We'll come back and get those in a second. See, it took a little while, but it didn't take that long. So here we go. We're putting our ores in. We'll put that into... Put these in. We can put the rubber saplings in there now, too. And good. And, yeah, we'll shove that sky stone in there. Let me get the rest of that out of here. Sky stone. Oh, we can put all this coal in here. This is fantastic. Let's get this coal out of here. Bam, bam, wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. I think I can reach this. Yep. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, this feels good to be cleaning this sucker out. So, yeah, Applied Energistics 2, it's a little harder getting some of this stuff going, especially when you're not used to it. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too terribly bad. We could start to put the cobble and dirt in there as well. Let's get this out of here. Gravel, cobble, dirt, gravel, cobble, dirt, gravel, cobble, dirt. Some of the sand. We'll come back for the rest of that crap here in a second. So like I was saying, it's daunting. It's definitely daunting at first when you first start messing with all the enemy crap, but especially the new Applied Energistics 2 ME crap, but you get the hang of it, and ends up not being the worst thing ever. Let's get these. Oh, we're gonna have empty chests before you know it. Be nice if the ladies were on helping me do this, but that's okay. I kind of feel bad that they're not here to see the virginal usage of the new ME system with its new ME ways. But hopefully they'll appreciate that it exists, and it's gonna start to make our lives easier, and we can start to focus on other things now that we don't have to worry about this quite as much. And the storage was starting to get really out of hand, as you can see. It's been quite a few seasons, or well, we've only had 2 seasons, but Jen, Julie, and I have gone through quite a few worlds since we've had this kind of problem with storage, and because of all of the new ways that all of the new mods for 1.7.10 deal with things, there has been a learning curve. I will not lie. I'm gonna leave those in there and plant them somewhere at some point. It's been challenging, but I kind of enjoy that it was challenging, because it keeps you on your toes and it keeps it kind of interesting. And it was getting to the point where I was getting so used to the way that the old system worked that it was kind of second nature to set this stuff up, and I was going through it real quick, and this was almost going to be another one of those, let's see how fast we can get the ME system set up thing. And I'm glad it's not that, and I'm glad it's been a little bit of a struggle. I'm also glad that it's now less of a struggle, because it feels good to accomplish getting this stuff done finally. So oh, there's some obsidian. I'm gonna try and get all this stuff up in that moth and sit back and let that quarry finish. And then we'll be working on the QED stuff and getting markers and making the quarry very big without having to employ a crap ton of fences. Let's see where we are now. Look, oh, the numbers are bigger too. That's nice. The numbers were almost impossible to read on the old one. All right. Let's keep working here. Let's get this clay. We'll add another item. Bam, 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 bam. No, you guys, you come with me. And I'll put the flint in there. Got all this salt. I don't know what to do with. We'll put the service in there. Hopefully the ME system's not going to crap out on me here, but I have faith in it. I should run a backup all the same. Now that I'm putting all of the things in one little small place now. It is dangerous. I always feel weird putting everything you own in one little block, which is essentially what the drive, the drive is just a block. And yeah, I know they have ones that are protected with obsidian. I'll probably do it up like I did in the previous world, where I had it protected by flowing water, which actually works quite well. I tested that in a creative world, and the flowing water pretty much completely protects you from any kind of blast damage. It has basically the same resistance, not quite, but almost the same resistance as obsidian. But it has to be flowing water. It can't be solid blocks of water. It can't be source blocks. Water has to be flowing. So you place it up high and you let it flow down in front of your ME drive system. And if something were to get to where it is and blow up, the water would protect it. So yeah, I may show that at some point in a test world. Just let you guys see how that works. But it does work. I won't do it here yet and rely on it to be the end all be all, because I'm not entirely certain that still works as well. Oh yeah, can't stack 164 Bob. I'm not entirely certain that it works perfectly well in 1.7.10 and later, but I think it does. I don't think there's, it's information that's in the wiki about blast resistance, and flowing water has a blast resistance that's quite high. In case you didn't know that. I'm gonna go ahead and sleep and probably end this episode. I think you get the idea. I'm gonna end up moving all this stuff over there into the ME system. Let's take a look at how full it's getting. Not too bad. And I got another drive, and I can make another drive easily. Oh yeah, and let's check these guys. So look, we have 4 pure flux crystals now. And so that's a good sign. So we took the 2 and we doubled them in the 4, which you can use the pure flux crystals just like you use any normal flux crystals, and they work fine. And like I said, there may be a recipe that requires that you have pure flux crystals, but I'm not sure about that. I am sure, as you saw, you need the pure Certus quartz to make the printed calculation circuit. But on that note, I bid you all adieu. Thanks for watching. And let's see the hat one more time. Yeah, I'm number 1. Woo, and I'm in the ceiling. Yeah. Let's see if we can do this. Oh, night night. Bye bye.